So I found this article, the 30 interview questions you probably shouldn't ask, to be kind of interesting. It's funny to think about whenever you're interviewing somebody that you would have to just be cautious of how you phrase things, how you ask things, to make sure that you are not, number one, asking for information that is not relevant to the position, and number two, not overstepping. So some of this information that was in the interview questions that we have listed, I don't think was necessary for all positions in teaching. Some positions, yes, but I just found it real interesting to see the types of questions that were asked and how we could ask them in a way that would not overstep or would not appear inappropriate in any way, shape, or form. It's funny thinking back to whenever I was applying for jobs when I was a kid, a teenager in high school and stuff like that. Some of these questions I was asked and I never even realized, hey, they probably shouldn't be asking me that. So I did find it real interesting. One in particular, especially being in the area that we're in, where we have a lot of EB students and students who have a different language spoken at home than they do in school, was the question of the one that you probably shouldn't ask is, what is your native tongue? I like how they rephrased it into, what languages do you read, speak, or write fluently? So they're asking in a roundabout way, hey, are you bilingual? Are you able to communicate with our EB students a little bit easier than some of our non-bilingual staff members? So I think that one, especially in education, is important for our EB students. If we can gain a staff member who can communicate with some of our newer, new to the country students that are learning a new language, I think it's great to help our student and kind of our staff as well, so to help us build more morale with those students and to just make them feel a little safer. Another question I found interesting and I think is important for us to ask and important information for us to receive is, are you a member of a professional or trade group that is relevant to our industry? So being that we work with the community and we are active partners with our parents, with our students in their outside lives and things like that, I think it's important to see if maybe there's a shared background that a new staff member would have with a group of students, a group of parents, something along those lines. So the question that they said you probably should not ask is, do you belong to a club or social organization? That seems a little bit too personal. It's none of our business as educators, if you have a book club or something like that. Being silly, of course. But I think it is important if we can center it around what our job is. So related to the industry, that's how they rephrased it. What is relevant to our industry? I think that's a great question to ask, because if you have a new staff member that is a part of a local group that would increase and improve the community relationship with the stakeholders involved, like our parents, guardians, other students, graduates, people like that, I think that's a great thing to have, a great asset for our campus. Another one I think that is very important and relevant to our job as teachers and eventual principals is, what are your long-term career goals? So we want someone who is going to grow our campus and be a part of our campus and help make our campus better. I think the reason that they changed the way that they questioned it in this article, the original question was, how much longer do you plan to work before you retire? I feel like that could maybe be slightly offensive if you are talking to, in particular, if you are talking to a older candidate or an older interviewee. They might see that, oh, well, they're thinking I'm old and I'm going to retire soon and they don't want to hire me. No, we just need to know, are you going to stick out with this school? Are you going to stay with this school for the long term? So I think that's a really important one that could impact, I guess, the decision. If you know that coming into it, they are not planning on staying, their long-term career goals is to become a business major or to open up their own business after they teach for a year or so, I think that would be a deciding factor on whether or not they got the position or not. So again, it's tricky on the wording, but I think those three were the big ones that I think were the most important for the interview process.